What are the people in the corporate environment, experiencing? What are the main problems, issues?
Mindfulness, wellness in the workplace, mental well-being has become a topic that is being spoken about, that burnout is a topic that's being spoken about.
If, as a breath expert, the one thing I need to say is, when we don't take time to pause.
But our brain is connected to our body, and the body and the brain send messages to one another. It's a two-way street, okay? Thinking more clearly, thinking more on point, that's where the creativity comes back in.
What are the people in the corporate environment facing nowadays? Because like I've been hearing like on LinkedIn, this whole, burnout syndrome. It's like I see like almost everyone is talking about, like, again, it's like with the pandemic, we all stopped. And we kind of like were inside and by ourselves. Some people healed and got, understood the importance of just taking time for yourself. And then we started running and running and running again. And now we're facing another burnout, and people talk about burnout. Yeah, so the first question is generic, like what are the people in the corporate environment, experiencing? What are the main problems, issues? And like the case studies of the case studies you've done in the corporate environment, and how your work, mindfulness, breath work, has been helping people, and how are you helping people transform their lives and transform the corporate environment? What's happening there?
Wow. Yeah, I think firstly, what came up when you were asking that question was, we're very fortunate that mindfulness, wellness in the workplace, mental well-being has become a topic that is being spoken about, that burnout is a topic that's being spoken about. The unfortunate flip side of that is the fact it's being talked about because it's more common, and therefore it has to be talked about. There is no choice now, but this is the movement. This is something that I'm feeling very passionate right now about, because I don't think for my parents' generation, this was a topic that anyone was even aware of, certainly wouldn't have spoken about. So firstly, praise be that we are in a society where this is being communicated. However, there needs to be an education around what burnout means, how that impacts your well-being. And I think the biggest challenge that people in the workplace are facing is that we have lost the ability to appreciate that to do our best, to be our best, we need to rest. And that doesn't mean stopping. I think there is this misconception that resting means being lazy, not doing enough. And we have already mentioned that word pause. And there for businesses, so if you think at the top end of the business, then the corporation, we have then the community that supports this business, this organization that has been suffering and been through challenges. And, obviously we all know the economic situation that we are all in right now. So there is a pressure from this level, from the top level, which filters down to the people who are there to really energize and support this organization. This pressure to make up for those lost years of business, to not be knocked down by yet another year of, or to not let this situation affect us, and to push on. And we're good people who want to do our best, and that often means to do whatever is asked of us and more. And so as much as this pressure trickles down to these amazing people who are supporting your organization and community, the challenge is then that these people, we are struggling to keep up. As everyone, we have more than just our work as our responsibility and our passion. And I have on my vision board, and I looked at it before we went live, was taking care of yourself is productive. And production is what businesses and organizations want. However, what I'm feeling and hearing from my clients and within my own community is a workforce. People are burnt out. That starts by, that's the end result. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. Inevitable, your body goes, enough, you've ignored me for this long. But what I'm hearing is exhaustion, not enough time in the day, forgetfulness, making mistakes, then feeling guilt and shame about making that mistake and having challenging conversations. So then this all layers on to the anxiety, to the overwhelm, and to the pressure that is building within not only the organization to do well, you know, for the good of their audience, for their people, their customers, but for the pressure on the people trying to create that service, create that product, and share the goods of that business. To if they're not feeling their best, they're not going to be doing their best. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges that we're all facing.
Yeah, where how I see this situation myself is it's like all this life has become very overwhelming for many people because there are a lot of outside triggers, like a lot of stuff that is going to distract you from your own journey or whatever, like the social media, the whole brands and businesses. It's like that's great, like flourishing, but there's also this a lot of distraction, and I think that's why people are feeling I don't have time, I don't have time. And the thing is, it's like, if as a breath expert, the one thing I need to say is when we don't take time to pause, it's like we lose our capability, like our ability to fully breathe. And I think that's one of the most important and biggest problems, because what happens when we can't fully breathe, and it's like if you don't take a pause, if you're not taking pauses during the day, you lose your ability to fully breathe and your breath just gets squeezed. You start breathing shallow. So all this life is too much is causing shallow breathing habits. And like 70% of the people around the world, research is telling us that have shallow breathing habits or not using their breathing fully, which leads to having less oxygen in the body, having less ATP, less energy. You have less oxygen for your cells to renew, tissues to renew, organs to renew, brain to renew itself and stay healthy. It's like, of course, if you don't have enough oxygen in the brain, you will forget things. Of course, you will make mistakes. Of course, you will feel tired and your body will drain itself because it's not getting the food, the main energy, the source it needs. So that's why I have seen, it's like the research is telling us that it's like regular breath work, I believe, is the fastest and the most effective way for the 21st century people, because still not many people have even 15 days or half an hour to meditate or to pause, which is okay. But you can renew yourself, your body at least, and your whole system just with 3 minutes of breath work every day, just by increasing the oxygen level this much. It's gonna change everything. You will stop feeling tired and you'll become more creative and all that. So I'm gonna come to that. It's like if you were to tell us like 3 main benefits of breath work you see for employee well-being, especially for people who are working full-time on the corporate environment, like 3 main benefits.
Focus, creativity. There's so many other words I want to use, but for me it is to calm. And I nearly didn't use that word because I know I have had a lot of resistance to the word calm, because businesses have misunderstood that means their people are chilled out, especially coming from a yogi. So for me, it's a focus, creativity, and calm. Because focus, we talked about that connection to our brain. We seem to think that our neck, disconnects at some point. There's nothing going on there. It connects our head to our body. So our body and our mind, our body and our brain, because our mind is a different thing. So the mind is the entity that has those wonderful thoughts, creative ones, negative ones, and inspirational ones. But our brain is connected to our body, and the body and the brain send messages to one another. It's a two-way street, okay? And the focus comes from the fact that breath work can help us to reset our nervous system, to send the message back to our brain that this is not a dangerous situation. I'm thinking right now, focus for a project to get done, a deadline, or even to present in a meeting, as I know a few people in my community need to do. Focus, knowing what you need to say, happens when we stop, we take a few moments to breathe, and you're able to literally reset your body to go, this isn't a dangerous situation. Okay, this isn't gonna kill me. This is scaring me, but I have got this. Bring it back into focus, because we can calm and soothe the nervous system. The brain can start to fire again and go, okay, this is what I'm focusing on. Because we need to understand that when we're feeling stressed, we shift into a different part. So parts of our body don't need to be working, because if there's an imminent danger, what needs to be happening is your muscles need to be ready to go. That's where we feel tense, because our muscles are like, right, where am I running to? Who am I about to, And yes, we may want to do that sometimes in our workday. However, focus, thinking more clearly, thinking more on point. That's where the creativity comes back in. I use breathwork and also yoga nidra, a mindful technique, to help me on the days when I perhaps haven't been sleeping very well, or I've had a very busy morning and I've got a creative project that needs my attention and I really need to connect to my creativity, but I'm just feel a bit sapped of energy. I use breathwork to help, again, my body to rebalance and shift my energy a little bit more into my fight flight state, only enough that I feel a little bit more energized, and that my blood starts pumping a bit more, and I start to feel like motivated and passionate about something. So stress gets to be good and bad. We have eustress, which is the positive stress, whole different podcast. But that creativity, because you've been able to focus, you're able to think more clearly, and you're open to other people's ideas. You've got shifts of perspective. That helps your creativity, because we can, when we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, what happens? Yes, it feels like our body's closing in and it feels like the blinkers go on, and you can only see what you're thinking. And that sometimes isn't enough, because those thoughts maybe aren't very helpful or supportive. And when I said the word calm, I'm not talking about, hey, let's just chill out at work today. It's fine, it'll get done. I'm talking about having the ability to our breath to calm our nervous system, and we have a balance to be in harmony.
Yeah.
So to
So
come
maybe,
in,
yeah, maybe I'm gonna add something kind of like a word. Maybe the calm you are referring to is kind of like this content, like being
centered,
centered.
perhaps.
Yeah,
Yes,
centered.
there you go.
Yeah, kind of like, it's not like chill, but it's more like, and that's a heavy centered. It's not like flying
Grounded, yeah.
high, but it's grounded.
It's that balance between not flipping, again, the same as going into our stress response, and that not being very positive or productive. We can dip too far into that chill out, which is great at nighttime, great to wind down at the end of the day, but in the middle of the workday, this is what employers aren't wanting. They want the team to be productive. So we need to find that harmony between bringing ourselves back into balance, into that state where we're able to calmly present that meeting confidently, calmly, and in a very connected way to ourselves and how we're communicating to people around us. So calm communication, calm responses, a centered way of being that makes your team, especially if you are a leader in your business, to feed from that energy. We feed off people's energy, right? So you want to be in a calm and centered place in your workplace to be able to get your work done, but also to inspire your community, the people around you.